So this video is long overdue, but it is time to get ready for the Olympics some more with my Team Sweden 2026 projected Olympic roster. I have been creating the Olympic rosters for the 2026 Olympics with all of the nations, and I have done the United States and Canada, and now we are moving on to Team Sweden today. Let's start off with the players who are locked in. They will be in the tournament because they were picked as the 6 preliminary players to be added. So let's go through these guys here. Starting off, Lucas Raymond, Gabriel Landeskog, Adrian Kempe, William Nylander, Victor Hedman, and Rasmus Dahlin are these 6 guys who have qualified. So going through those 6 guys here, starting off with Lucas Raymond, dynamic scorer for the Detroit Red Wings. I believe he scored the first 80-point season for Detroit in nearly 10 years. That is pretty unbelievable. He's got to be on this qualifying list. Adrian Kempe, very underrated goal scorer for sure. When you think of underrated players, I still think of Adrian Kempe, even though he's been one of those guys for a couple of years now. He got signed to a good contract recently. Gabriel Landeskog as well. Did not play in the NHL for a couple of seasons, but now that he's fully back here in the NHL, I think he should be deserving of making this roster, and he obviously is going to make it because he is a lock. William Nylander is William Nylander. That shouldn't really shock anybody there. He's a dynamic offensive player. He's probably been the best Toronto Maple Leaf in the playoffs in the last 10 years, I would say. So William Nylander there at that 4th spot. And then Victor Hedman and Rasmus Dahlin were the 2 defenders that were qualified. Again, you look at Hedman and Dahlin, those 2 guys probably going to be on the same pairing. I love both of them as great two-way defenders. Hedman leans more offensively, but these 2 guys, longtime Swedish defenders, they both got to be on this list. Those are the guys that are locks. And now going through my actual projected roster for the Team Canada, or Team Sweden forward core. I might have said Team Canada at some point, but Team Sweden is the team. Starting off here with my top 6, I have Lucas Raymond, Leo Carlsson, Adrian Kempe, Gabriel Landeskog, Elias Pettersson, and William Nylander. So 4 of those guys I've already talked about. I can put those ones away. I do want to preface by saying that these lines aren't exactly the way I think they could be at the Olympics. They're just my projected type of depth chart that I made as I went along. I think they're pretty much right, but again, preferences with coaches and such. Maybe you see a guy who's on the 3rd line could be on the 1st. A guy who's on the 1st could be on the 2nd or the 3rd. You never know. So going through the guys I haven't mentioned here, starting off with Leo Carlsson. I'm wearing all Ducks gear because Carlsson, he's cooled down a little bit since that really hot month of November, but he will make this team. And there is no doubt about that. I look at that center core for this Sweden roster. I would say he is their best center right now. There's really no denying that. He's been so remarkable for that Sweden team, so he's got to be in there at the 1C. Elias Pettersson there at the 2C. I think Pettersson's had a really good bounce-back season so far this year. He's not, like, lighting it up, like he's not, like, absolutely off-the-charts incredible, but he still had a really good season, comparatively speaking, to what was last year, where he really struggled through last year, and he's starting to pick up the numbers and start playing really well, with Vancouver even not being so well in general. So it's good to see. Let's hope that continues here into the coming months of December and into the Olympics in February. That's my top 6. The other guys I already talked about. Moving into the bottom 6 now, we'll start off with that 3rd line. We have Philip Forsberg, William Karlsson, not Linus Karlsson, and then Jesper Bratt as my 3rd line there. Very good 3rd line, I would say. Forsberg, really good scorer. I think he could get up there in that 2nd line over a guy like Landeskog, but really underlooked with the struggles of the Nashville Predators this year. Nobody's really paid attention to what Forsberg has done with Nashville. William Karlsson, definitely not what he once was in years before with the Golden Knights, but still has become a prominent scorer for that team and should not be underlooked here when looking at some of the better players in the league. Jesper Bratt, really good, really underrated for the New Jersey Devils. You even look at prior years in the playoffs, Bratt's been there every time. He has always performed. He's always played very well, too. So he's there on that 3rd line spot. He should be on this team. There's really no doubt about that, in my opinion. He's been awesome to watch. Then you look at that fourth line. You have Marcus Johansson, Joel Eriksson Ek, and William Eklund makes his way into this roster. You guys may notice that there is a lot of guys who are mostly on that Four Nations roster, and that's pretty much how this will be. I'm not going to lie to you. There won't be a lot of changes from that, but regardless, you look at that fourth line there. Marcus Johansson's actually had a really good year with the Minnesota Wild alongside his partner there, Joel Eriksson Ek, so there's some good chemistry there as well. That makes things a lot of fun to see there for sure. So those two guys, I think, will really work well together. Eriksson Ek, good center. Maybe not even there on that fourth line. Could, I think, get over a guy like William Karlsson, but again, we'll see how the lineups actually do shape themselves to be. And then William Eklund. Eklund there as well. Was with San Jose for a couple of years. Didn't make the Four Nations team last year. I think he should make this Olympic roster. Very good, very dynamic offensive player. Very fun to watch. And overall, somebody who I really enjoyed watching this season. We commentated him on Monday with the Sharks. Very good, very creative player. I don't even know if he'd be on that fourth line spot, maybe even up higher, to be honest with you. Then you look at your extra guys here. So I did go with the 14 forward, 8 defensemen, 3 goaltender tandem. I know mine was a little bit different, but starting off here, Victor Arvidsson did make this team last year. Has not been that terrible this year. Has scored some goals. So I think he could make it there as an extra forward. And then this is Team Sweden. Mika Zibanejad's got to be there, although I don't think he's been as good as we've wanted him to be in previous years. But Zibanejad gets into there at that extra center spot. And that's my forward core. The only change really from the Four Nations roster is I took Elias Lindholm out and I put William Eklund in. And Gabriel Landeskog's in there as well, obviously. But apart from that, this is pretty much the same roster that was there in the Four Nations. I think that's pretty much what it's going to be. I wouldn't be shocked if that's what it is. Like, I don't think there's really going to be any more changes. Unless if there's somebody who is on the outside and maybe can make this team that's not in the NHL. But I did this just NHL projected roster solely. So there you go. Those are my guys on my Team Sweden forward core. Now you look at the defense then, which is to the right of me. You start off with Victor Hedman and Rasmus Dahlin on that first pairing. Again, I talked about those guys. Those guys are for sure locks to make this team. And rightfully so. They're very good players. Erik Karlsson and Mattias Ekholm is my second pairing. Karlsson, on Pittsburgh, he's still got that offensive side to his game. He's still been a very good offensive defenseman there. He's been phenomenal, actually, for Pittsburgh. He's been really, really fun to watch. We commentated him on Monday night as well. As well as that, too, again, Ekholm there as well. Not a lot of great defensive play going on in Edmonton, but Ekholm should still make this team for sure. Again, that blue line with Ekholm, good defensive defenseman. Doesn't really score a lot of goals or get up a lot of points. I would argue he's been a big X factor in why Edmonton's made 2 straight Stanley Cup finals. And then Gustav Forsling and Jonas Brodin is my third pairing there. So Gustav Forsling, again, very good defensive defenseman for Florida. And again, has been one of those guys who was a waiver claim from, I think, Chicago back in 2021. And since then has been a phenomenal forward for the Panthers and should make this Team Sweden team, no doubt about that. And then Jonas Brodin there as well. Brodin's been good on the Minnesota Wild too. He's a lot more underlooked than other defensemen here in this league. I think Brodin's been very, very good on both ends of the puck. And then you look at your extra defensemen there. This is kind of where we get into like the guys who probably wouldn't make it under any circumstances. But Rasmus Andersson and Hampus Lindholm are my guys there for those 2 extra defensemen. Andersson, I don't think has been as good as we've been profiling him to be. That could be one of the biggest flops by Calgary ever. They waited way too long to trade for that guy. But Andersson gets in there as an extra defenseman in that spot. And then Hampus Lindholm, the brother of Elias Lindholm, does make this roster too. I think he gets underlooked. He's been a really good defenseman for the Boston Bruins, and a big part why Boston's been able to win the games they have. Yeah, I think he could make this roster for sure. He's going to be somebody that I'm looking forward to watching here, and could be, a 7th or 8th defenseman on this roster. Maybe even gets in. Who knows? Depending on how the camps go and all that. We'll see if Lindholm can make that Olympic roster. But that's my defensive core. There's really no arguments there to be made. The only guy that I saw who could make it is Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And as a Coyotes fan, former one that is, I would love to see that. But I don't know if it's going to be a reality with how stacked that blue line is. He has had a very good season, though. I will give him credit where it's due. But that is my defensive core for Team Sweden. And then last but not least here, you look at my goaltenders for the Team Sweden team. You start off with Philip Gustafsson, Linus Ullmark, and Jesper Wallstedt. That's right, I'm going a big hot take on the goaltending side of things. So Gustafsson is there as my starting goaltender. He's been awesome to watch. Again, you look at Minnesota, a big part of why they've been so good is their goaltenders. Gustafsson's been phenomenal and a really fun player to watch and has been consistently good for many years here now. But the other guy that I want to talk about is Jesper Wallstedt. Wallstedt has been lights out. Only 9 or 10 games played at the time we're recording of this video, but he hasn't even lost a game of regulation. He has a .938 or something like that, and he has 3 shutouts. He's been absolutely lights out for the Minnesota Wild here, and has been a guy that I've really enjoyed watching. And we're going to get him into a commentary stream soon. Don't worry, that will be a plan very, very soon here. But Wallstedt has been awesome to watch, so entertaining. Then you have Linus Ullmark as my third-string goaltender there. So Ullmark, I might get criticism for not putting in a guy like Jacob Markstrom, who I will talk about here, but Ullmark, I feel like, has been very good since that rough start. He was really bad to start the season, and now he's kind of eased into things and started picking up a lot of really good games here. He's kind of like Yaroslav Askarov in a way, where he really turned up the brakes after having a really bad month of October, but honestly, I think Ullmark there at that third string or maybe even that backup role, I think is good there for sure. But those are my 3 goaltenders, honestly. Not really a lot to explain upon that. The only other guy who I could have seen making it is Jacob Markstrom, and I think Markstrom has been very good for New Jersey and has been a guy that I've enjoyed watching for sure. So Markstrom there gets in as an honorable mention player, but that's my goaltending tandem. And there you go. That's pretty much my Team Sweden 2026 projected roster for this upcoming Olympics. Again, I know that maybe I'm missing some guys here, and I do know that there just is a possibility of maybe somebody who is not playing in the NHL who could make this team. I'm not ruling that out there whatsoever, but I look at this projected roster, I think it pretty much is exactly what I think it would be without the outside NHL help there for sure. I know there's some controversies, like maybe putting Wallstedt in there over Markstrom, but I think Wallstedt's been great. I think he should get consideration to make this team as a goalie. But you do have to ride with the hot hand, but I do understand they do value experience more than the young guys who may be better. But we'll see. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like the video down below and subscribe if you are new to the channel. We'll be doing Finland here in a couple of days. And we're getting to that point where the World Juniors are coming up soon. We'll do some World Juniors talk here as well very, very soon. I did want to put together my World Junior roster, but now they're starting to release the camps for it, so I think I might have been too late on that, but there's always next year. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.